Declaration of Independence, or it's something, it's the Magna Carta, it's something like that. But this palette is showing you what happens when Egypt really becomes the first nation in the history of the world. Beneath that scene of the intertwined animals, beneath the scene, is one other scene that's important. It's a bull. And the bull has broken down a wall around a city, and he's trampling on someone. Now, the bull is the second symbol of the pharaoh that's going to be used in Egypt. We have the falcon, and now we have the bull. The bull, of course, is the idea is the power. And this is the pharaoh. Has broken down the walls of a city, captured the city, and is trampling on the enemy. So Narmer has really done a great thing, and he's saying it. Now, one last thing I should say about the palette. It's a kind of detail that I like. Nobody knows this. And it's something I'm not sure what to make of, but I think it's important. It arose when I was waiting in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, where the palette is. It's on display on the first floor. As soon as you go in, it's the thing you see. Everybody who comes to Egypt goes to the Egyptian Museum, and they see the Narmer palette. It is like the Declaration of Independence for Egypt. It is important. I was waiting for somebody, and I was supposed to meet him by the palette. We said, meet by the palette. Now, typical person was Egyptian, was late. I was waiting for him, and I have nothing to do. I'm waiting around. I say, I might as well really look closely at the palette. I've never really stared at it for a long time. I've got time, I guess. So I'm looking at the palette. And I'm looking and looking, and I start to look on the other side. I go around it. It's upright. You can walk around it. And I realize something. As I say, I'm not sure what to make of it, but I think it might be important. The two sides of the palette were carved by different people. The same artist did not carve the front and the reverse. Now, why do I say that? Remember the rectangle, the serech, that's the palace facade? If you look at that on one side of the palette and then the other, you will see totally different. They're recognizable as palace facades, but one has 4 columns, another has 2 columns. It's totally different in style. And if you look at the hieroglyphs, they're totally different. That is, hieroglyphs are a handwriting. One of the hieroglyphs that's used on the palette is a rosette, a little flower petal. One side it has 6 petals, another side it has 7. It looks totally different. One side it's elegant, the other side it's clumsy. Clearly, 2 different artists carved the different sides of the palette. I'm not sure what that means. I'll give you a suggestion, just a suggestion. It may mean that there's some time separating the carving of the first side with the carving of the second. In other words, it wasn't carved contiguously. It wasn't, all right, carve this. They do one side, and then maybe time passes. And then something else is added to the story, and they take the other side, and they carve it. And if that's true, maybe the story we're telling isn't quite right. I don't know if there's more time between the conquest or something, but there's something funny going on with the palette that maybe future historians will figure out. But it's interesting to me that this is carved by 2 different people. Now, let me say something about what Narmer has done for Egypt and why it's so important. Narmer has unified Egypt. With a unified Egypt, and Egypt under one king, you can do great things. You can have all the power concentrated in one person. Now remember, Egypt's king isn't just a king. He's a god. He's the falcon. He's Horus. He is a god on earth. Other civilizations had kings in the ancient world, in the Near East, but none had a king who was a god. And if you have all that power concentrated, you don't have to worry about committees. You don't have to worry about making this. He says it, it's done. This was recognized very early. For example, if you read Plato's Republic, now Plato, of course, comes much later in history, but Plato in the Republic is trying to figure out what is the best possible government. And he comes up with the answer: a government ruled by a philosopher king. Now, why a philosopher king? Well, the answer is, first, you want a philosopher because you want justice. And justice, well, who better to figure out what justice is, what's fair, than a philosopher? Why a king?